Hi folks, I want to work on my Dwarf Alberta Spruce. I got this tree 4 years ago, it cost $8. Most recently I repotted it in April of this year. It's August right now. And it wasn't a huge major operation, but it did reduce the root ball significantly. But it's grown really well this summer. It didn't seem to mind the repot at all. Very healthy tree. So I think it's ready for more work. So what do I want to do? I want to take the wires off of the branches, then rewire the branches down, and then reduce the foliage quite a bit. Push it back in where I can, and then just take some of the the volume out of the foliage. I'm thinking I might take as much as 50% of the foliage off. Also, I'll of course clean up the sedum down here that have grown very strongly. So that's the plan. Don't think I have time to do all of that right now, but I at least want to get started because I do have a little bit of time right now. Alright, so I'm going to start taking the wire off. I took this one off a little bit just to see, about a week ago, to see if it was cutting in. And it is. And that's actually not a bad thing, especially on conifers. That means that when you take the wire off, it might have a chance of holding. But these things, true to what you read on the internet, they don't hold shape too well. But I think it's unrealistic. I was actually just reading today about them on the internet a little bit. And somebody talked about how, just it's useless. You don't bother wiring these. They even went so far as to say don't waste your time bonsaiing these because the wire won't hold. And that's not really, I mean, the branches are starting, the primary branches are starting to hold shape. They're not going to pop all the way back up, but they do tend to just creep up. So it's true. I don't know when I won't have to wire this tree, but I don't think it's going to be anytime soon. But at the same time, you can't just leave the wire on indefinitely for years and years because then it'll start cutting in. So this has just kind of become routine for this tree. I just unwire it in late summer. This is apparently, according to Harry Harrington, late summer, August is a good time to work on these. So that's another reason why I'm doing this now. Alright, so that's it. I got all the wire off. And immediately it kind of relaxed. I could see it just kind of took the wire off. It's like loosening the belt buckle and it just kind of expanded a bit. So one major styling change I'm going to make today, shortly, is I'm taking this branch off in the front. I've looked at this tree for months now and kind of already made that decision. One reason to do that, see, it's a bar branch with this branch right here, and I don't want to take this back branch off here. This is the front of the tree right here. It just kind of gets in the way of the trunk, and I actually want to be able to see this branch right here in the back. Anyways, but yeah, the bar branch, it does bother me. Bar branches are a big no-no in bonsai, and I'd say most of the time, the majority of the time, it's probably the right call to get rid of your bar branches. Not always. I mean, trees grow like that in nature, so I don't think it's like a hard and fast rule, but often it just looks better. Alright, so let's cut this thing off. It's not really a hard decision. I decided this long ago. Bam. And I'm not going to cut it off flush. I think actually I'll do a little tighter than that. And then I'll take pliers, just normal pliers, smash it. Take the bark off. Get sap all over my hands. Yeah, you gotta be careful with spruce sap. Maybe it was a fir. They get these kind of bubbles or blisters on them. and I was working, and it's, you want to like hit the blister anyway. They can explode and release sap all over you. So yeah, I don't know why I'm telling that weird story. Alright, well, this is easy. I will wire this to this, and this to this, and these two. Yeah, easy. At least for the major branches. And then I think I'm gonna have to do some more fine detail wiring, but also shortening. It's a nice pad, it's developing. Anyway, I'm gonna wire them down first, and then I'll think about pruning. Alright, so it's the next morning. Here's where I left it, and I'm very pleased with the result. I wired all the primary branches down, as you can see, pretty severely. Put them down quite a bit. And I was gonna just do the primary branches and then just clip off the rest of the foliage that wasn't flat. But then I started looking at it really in detail last night, and realized if I twisted that branch this way, I could get it flat. Rather than prune it off, I can use all that foliage. So I started doing little twists here and there with finer wire, and really happy I did that. And I've kind of noticed, looking at how the pads have developed on this over the last couple of years, that when I have wired out the branches and done some more detailed wiring on it, I'm pleased with the result. I like the way it looks, and maybe I'll bring you in and show you this first pad right here that I'm very happy with how it's turning out. So here's the bottommost pad of the tree, and I like how it's developing, and I know I've developed this with a combination of doing a little bit of detailed wiring like I did here with a thinner wire, and just clip and grow. So that's kind of the technique I've been using with this tree. And some of the pads are still kind of a mess, but some are getting to be pretty nice, like this pad. It kind of lays pretty flat. I'm really glad I took this off, because and I'm gonna take this little branch off so you can see the branch droop down there. Let's see, where's another? Yeah, I like this pad right here. Here's where I put some movement on with wire from previous years to create this little bend. And now what I'm gonna do primarily is take off some of this foliage. It's a little full for me, and I'm gonna look for places like this where 3 branches come from one point. I'll prune one of those off to get bifurcations throughout. I'll prune some of these off, like this one I'll probably prune off that's popping up to make the pads flat. There's lots of places where the foliage is popping up, but there are places where, like, this side was popping up right here, but I just put a little bit of wire right there and twisted it to make it flat, or mostly flat. And then I'll probably prune this off where it's kind of popping up. So that's what I'm gonna do right now, and shouldn't be too long. Then after that, I'm going to prune up this sedum. So that's the plan for this morning. So we'll get pruning on this. And I might put a little bit more wire on, but I actually spent quite a bit of time last night wiring, but also thinking about what I'm gonna prune off, what I'm doing now. And I haven't done this yet with this tree, but I'm considering it, and I think I'm gonna try it. And that is, I'm going to I might try pinching the shoots next spring. Meaning when the shoots emerge, I might just take like half the shoot off and see what that does. I've never applied that technique to this tree, and I'd just like to see what happens. All right, so I think I'm done. I could prune this back, but I'm gonna leave it. I'm just gonna work starting at the lowermost pad and just work my way up. And now it's primarily just going to be pruning little tips off, pruning off, actually, do I want to take this off? We'll see. We'll see in the end. Just pruning off, especially where there's those places. Actually, here's a place where four buds emerge from one spot, so I want to take that back. So I'm done with the foliage pruning, and I estimate I took off at least 20%. And it's by no means perfect. There's some pads that are still kind of confusing, a bit messy, but some of the pads are really developing nicely. So now it's time to clean up that overgrown understory. Alright, let's take care of this sedum. And I want to kind of clear out maybe the front completely so you can get a good look at the nabari. That'll do it. I'm sure in the next day or two I'll be staring this tree. I'll do little touch-ups here and there, but for most part this is finished. So I'll zoom it out and give it a final spin. Alright, so here's the final spin for you. I'm happy with the result. The plaids are getting pretty fluffy, and I like the tree appearance much better now that I've taken all that foliage off. Also, of course, wiring the branches drastically down. I really like that look, actually. I found, just an observation I had while working on this took a lot longer than I expected. And I found that to be true with most of my trees now. As they mature, I get more branches, and it just takes me longer to work on them. And I'm not complaining, just an observation I've had recently. So I read about these a little bit online recently, and a lot of people don't recommend Dwarf Alberta Spruce for bonsai. They talk about how the branches won't set position with wiring, which I can attest to. That's true. They also talk about how they bud out at weird places. But I don't see that as a disadvantage for bonsai. Say I wanted to shorten this branch drastically in the future, I could prune it back to some of these buds that have popped further back along the branch. So I think that's actually an advantage. So do I recommend these for bonsai? Yeah, I say why not. I think it's working. Again, I don't know. We'll see if these branches will ever set. I imagine I'll be doing this operation again next August, but we'll see. I'll keep working on it. I also, one thing I love about this tree, this variety, is that this variety of white spruce was found in Alberta, not too far from where I'm located. So it's very much a native species to this area. So I say, yeah, why not? Give it a shot. Anyway, until next time, happy bonsai.